to another Grove City Hockey off-ice interview, and I'm here with a very, very special guest. He's the ice hockey innovator, the skate scientist, Brad Pelkofer. Brad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Jake. Thanks for the warm welcome. It's great to be here.
Now, Brad, you're kind of new to Grove City Hockey here, and you're not really in the inline game yet, but we're trying to break you in to get outside of that ice zone. Tell me why you enjoy ice hockey so much, and what made you start when you were such a young player?
I started skating when I was about 4 or 5. I actually did not start playing ice hockey till I was about 10. And my baseball coach at the time found out I was an ice skater. And this was back in the mid 70s, back when Pittsburgh only had about 3 ice rinks within the greater area. So anyways, he got me into hockey. I played 5 years at the amateur level, all throughout the Pittsburgh area, traveled up into Toronto, and just loved the game. I only played a few years, but for a team sport, hockey has always been my favorite team sport by far. I just thought it required the most skill, the most coordination, offense, defense. You could be changing any second, from shooting to skating, offense, defense. I just thought it was the coolest game on earth.
Hey, you're speaking our language. It's the coolest game to us too. What I always tell young players is, when you play hockey, you can transition into any sport. It's a lot harder to go from something else into hockey, though. So that's why we try to get youth hockey so up and coming. Reading about your product and your backstory, you came up with the idea at youth hockey. We always are a big proponent on getting young kids excited about hockey and involved. Why is youth hockey so important to not only a company like yours, but the industry of ice hockey?
Yeah, well, Jake, everything starts when you're at a very young age. If you go back when you were young, how impressionable you were. And first impressions are huge, whether you're going to stick with a sport or not. So if the equipment is too expensive or too hard to use, the player is probably not going to stick with it. And they're going to go off to something a little bit easier with just, say, a single ball to it. And when I was young, the big problem for young skaters was tying their skates. The parents had to go into the dressing room. It was a hassle for the parents. Typically, they couldn't tie their kids' skates correctly. So they come up with an idea to help young skaters tie their skates by themselves and be more independent and just have that level of confidence and to get their equipment to work correctly. Because everybody knows if your skates are not tied correctly, you're never going to be able to perform or skate correctly.
Yeah, it's one of the big things that even new players, it's always, oh, my feet hurt, my ankles hurt, that lace bite never really goes away. So for those of you who don't really are familiar with Panther Teeth, Brad, tell me a little bit about what the actual item is and, the purpose of it. And I hear you're doing a lot of research on it, so maybe share some of your findings.
Yeah, sure. So in a nutshell, the idea was I got the idea to help young skaters. And then if I go back, all the problems that I had when I played hockey, it was lace bite and my laces loosening. I had to tighten my laces after every 4 or 5 shifts. So I really wanted to come up with a device to help young players. So I think it was about 2017, I contacted the University of Pittsburgh. I had an idea to develop a product and I knew I couldn't do it on my own. So I contacted the engineering school down there. Lo and behold, they took it on as a project for their senior design students there at the University of Pittsburgh. And after 14 semesters of trial and error, we came up with this device that essentially it locks your laces together. If you think of the lace lock device that's out there on some skates today, CCM and others, it's kind of the same idea, but the problem with the lace lock is 1, it's on the outside of your boot, and 2, it's stationary, so you can't move it. So what we wanted to do is create something that could go on any set of laces, wherever you wanted in the boot, depending on what kind of issue you were having with your skates. So you could add 1 device, 2 device at the very top of your skates, 1 in the middle, 1 on the top. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, maybe forward lean, eliminate lace bite, skip the top eyelet, try and get more forward lean and more speed in your skates. Panther Teeth will allow you to achieve those goals and you will not sacrifice any lateral stability.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things too. Not only that it's movable and you can move it wherever you want on the skate, but you'd mentioned CCM and Bauer are probably the only two skates out there that have it, and there's a lot of skate manufacturers. One of the things that I like is I personally use Missions, and yeah, there's nothing like that on the market. And so to be able to add a product like yours to step up my game, it's been huge for me. That's not just a sales pitch; that's honest feedback. So I guess kind of continuing on, you mentioned, the University of Pitt and how big of a start they helped with the, I guess, the design process of it. But a lot of people don't know that, starting a business takes a lot more than just designing a product. You've been in this for a while now. What are some of your success stories, and maybe if you have any good business stories?
So I found out, so the engineering, it took us about 12 to 14 semesters to get the engineering correct. And when I say that, we only wanted to have one device to work on 99% of the hockey laces out there on the market today, which it does. So I'll give you a good ratio. I tell my girlfriend, for every one success you have, be prepared for about 10 to 15 failures. Keep it at 10, just a nice, easy ratio. One success, 10 failures. We do have a patented product. It is out in the public now. People are using it. But building a brand is probably one of the toughest things out there. It's just what we're doing is really grassroots efforts on Instagram, going out to rinks, pro shops, even giving them away to key coaches, key players, key influencers, just asking them for feedback. So we're really happy with the feedback. We're really glad that people like them, but it is a long, long process, Jake. It's a long process.
Yeah, and before we got on this interview, we talked about the Let's Play Hockey Expo, and how you're getting yourself out in front of these big names and these big brands. That's not an easy thing to do, and it can be very intimidating from time to time. Is this kind of your first go at going to these big trade show events? If not, what are some of those stories from those trade show events and interworking with other people in the hockey community?
Yeah, so specifically for hockey and Panther Teeth, this will be the first trade show that we exhibit at. But if I kind of reset for a minute, being an entrepreneur, as if there's some entrepreneurs listening to this, it takes a very varied set of skill sets in your background: sales, marketing, engineering, design, communications, you name it. Luckily, I have attended some trade shows in the past in my previous careers. So we're well positioned to go to the show. We're going to have a really nice table. We're going to have a really nice display. We have a great product and a great message to tell people. It's just, if you want to get a better fit on your skates, if you want to eliminate any leakage, any energy leakage, prevent your laces from loosening, stop by the Panther Teeth booth. Again, be happy to give out a couple free samples, but we really think that this is going to solve a lot of problems, both from very young skaters all the way up to pro skaters.
One of the biggest things, and the reason I play hockey so much, is our full-time jobs don't always allow us to do everything we want to, and unfortunately, I live a very stagnant lifestyle outside of hockey. And hockey really is such a big fitness proponent of my life. When we saw the new year roll around, Panther Teeth is pushing out all of these really exciting, self-care and fitness videos. What is self-care and like having a healthy mindset and a healthy lifestyle? How does that kind of coincide to your brand and what you guys stand for?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Jake, because today it's so much different than when I played hockey, back in the 70s. You kind of went to the gym, you went to the rink, and, you practiced twice a week, and that was kind of it. And you look at today's sports and how competitive things are. It's really a 24/7. Your nutrition, your training, and a lot of it's your mental health too, as we all find in sports. There's a lot of things you can do, but if you don't have the right mental attitude, unfortunately, you're not going to have a great shift. You're not going to have a great shot. You're not going to have confidence that you're going to score. You're not going to have confidence in the pass. So it's really a holistic feeling of being a player today and being a player, 30 to 40 years ago is totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always some of the things that we talk about is how mental health and, being, there and being focused and being sharp. It's such a different aspect of any sport, and forget about just hockey. And kind of leading into that, your product is used for a lot of other sports as well. Have you found kind of the same success and the same, community that hockey provides in, say soccer or baseball?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. We do have a product developed for what I'll call everything athletic shoes. So if you went into, say, like a Dick's Sporting Goods, went back to the shoe wall there, basketball, football, etc., our product will fit on 99% of those shoes and those laces. And the feedback that we've gotten from different players and runners, they just really like the lockdown fit. Everybody keeps coming back to like when runners, when they first put on their shoe, and they go out for a run, 5K, 10K, they come back 45 minutes later, their shoe feels a lot different than what it did when they first put it on. And when they use Panther Teeth, their shoe feels the same from the start to the end of the run. I've even heard from some runners at Pitt that have a little cheaper shoes because they're in college, can't afford good shoes now.
Right.
And they've actually put Panther Teeth on their shoes just to give them a better fit. And they said their shoes feel like $150 running shoes. So the feedback's been really, really good in the athletic shoe market. Being a small business, I have to focus on one vertical market right now, and I'm focusing on the hockey market. I'll probably focus more on the athletic shoes and the hiking boots and military boots later this year.
Yeah. So from my personal standpoint, my brother and sister, shout out to Chris and Hannah, both, cross country runners. And one of the things that, they always talk about is they have to buy replacement soles and replacement laces every single season because they just don't last. Have you found any connective, correlations between the livelihood of buying that extra Panther Teeth and how much longer it's going to preserve your shoes for?
Yeah, there's not really a correlation in length of shoes, the duration. The whole thing about Panther Teeth is really about the fit. So maybe you have an older pair of shoes that the soles are still in good shape, but sometimes shoes get a little stretched out. Essentially, you could prolong the life of them by being able to adjust different zones of lace tension in that shoe. So I do see that as a possibility.
I'm sure it does the same for skates as well. Skates are expensive and they keep getting more and more expensive. And if you can prolong that investment down the road a little bit, that's always a big help. Hey, Brad, we're unfortunately almost out of time. And I do have one more question that we ask all of our guests, a little bit of a fun one. You having some hockey experience, I'll throw this to you. Maybe with the Panther Teeth, this one's going to be easy for you. But if you had to play the rest of your career with an offhanded stick or untied skates, what would you choose and why?
What would I choose and why? Wow, boy, that's a good question. I was hoping you would ask who I would play a hockey game with.
Okay, part two. Who would you play a hockey game with for one game, third period, 5 minutes left to go? You need a goal. You're on a line. Who's on your wing?
It would be Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr is why I got into hockey. He transformed the defenseman position, and watching him being able to take a puck from red line to the other end of the rink and score was just phenomenal. And that's why I started playing hockey, because of watching Bobby Orr.
A lot of people say that he doesn't belong in the top three conversation. I think he's personally in the top two conversation. An absolute game changer, revolutionized the defensive position. I'm a defenseman as well, and to see how he plays a full 200-foot game is, it's something I want to do, and that's why I, play my game style the way that I do. Getting back to our question, though, I do have to ask, as we ask everybody else, skates untied or offhanded stick?
Skates untied.
Fair enough. Well, hey, Brad, I do appreciate it. Before we leave real quickly, Brad has some giveaways for you guys out there listening. Brad, tell them a little bit about it.
Sure. If you go out to the Panther Teeth Instagram page, we're doing a free giveaway for the month of February, 2 free packages of Panther Teeth. All you have to do is like us and follow us on Instagram. So check us out on Instagram at Panther Teeth, sign up for the free giveaway, and good luck.
And Brad, one more quick question for you here. Let's say people are interested in Panther Teeth. Aside from the wonderful Grove City Hockey merch table, where else can they buy?
Sure. Online on our website at pantherteeth.com.
All right. Well, Brad, I really appreciate the time. As always, make sure you guys check out Brad on Instagram. We're going to have all of his links in the description. And until next time, this has been Grove City Hockey's Off Ice Interview.